Hello and welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, your go-to place for everything Rocket League with your hosts, K-Cube, AJ Binky, and Red. So lean forward, lock in, and get ready to go Boost Over Ball.
You can display no free product placement.
Pressure with the TJ bag.
So also before everyone gets in, like while still waiting for a couple people to join chat if they are so inclined, I think we're gonna do an interview with Big Fan RL, the person who started and runs the Fantasy Rocket League website.
Oh, nice.
Damn.
Mac and cheese enjoyer and Fantasy Rocket League guy.
Mac and cheese enjoyer. What a tag.
I mean, I don't want to out him, but the man likes himself some mac and cheese.
Fair.
His wife got him a grill for his birthday, and the first thing he made was mac and cheese on the grill.
That's awesome.
Grill?
He's like, SSG wins a regional, mac and cheese time. Like, all right, hey, whatever you want to do, man.
You know, whatever floats your boat.
Okay, but this might be a little bit shorter of an episode. I don't know if we're gonna hit the hour mark. I didn't want to steal too much content from us because we have, looking forward, we have a couple of weeks. We'll have 1, 2, 3 more recordings before we leave for Raleigh. So, and I saw a post on Twitter today, 100 days till Worlds.
Ugh.
That's crazy. But the exciting part this year...
That's going to be an NA, right?
Yeah.
NA Worlds?
No. We're going back to Dallas.
Oh my... Please no. Please no. Like, I'm excited to go to this event just to see something different.
Yeah, it decided to not be in Dickie's arena.
I mean, the food... Although I will say, the catering, the food, excellent. Shout out to Dickie's staff. They were fantastic. I'm just excited to try to go somewhere different.
I'm so scared we're not going to get fine dining.
So no shade towards Lenovo Center, no shade towards anything like that, but Lenovo Center is the home of the Carolina Hurricanes, the NHL team. They released every year they release, I'm sure they do it for most major sports, but like they release like a player survey on like where the facilities rank, where everything ranks, and Carolina is the lowest. In terms of like facilities and stuff. So granted, that is the worst for a professional sports team. So like,
yeah, but the worst
is why they're getting
NFL is
destroyed by Florida.
They already got done. The worst in the NFL is like the Bengals and the Commanders, and I've been to the Commanders Stadium, and oh my Lord, was that a horrendous experience?
Really, I have yet to go to it. I see. Do you see they're moving it? They're going back to the RFK Stadium.
Yeah, that is a God blessing to them, because my Lord, that FedEx Field was a nightmare to go to. That place felt like a glorified high school stadium.
But I mean, also
trying to go to games, so I will keep that in mind.
I will be interested to see, because we've been to Boston, right? And that was Boston University's hockey rink. We've been to Dickie's, which is not a professional sports venue. Very nice venue.
Right.
No shade at all to Dickie's. That's fantastic. So this is another sports venue. They have concerts. They have all kinds of stuff. I am intrigued if the facilities will be nice, but like maybe just like the players' dressing rooms and stuff are just kind of like where they, are not doing so hot. But, we will have to wait and see on that one.
The only thing I think about it is I think RLCS might be biting off more than they can chew. I think the ticket sales already are not looking good because the prices are insane.
I'm hoping they like lower it like at least a couple weeks before the event or something. Like we're getting close to event time and there's whole rows still open.
It's looking scary hours.
Yeah. Well, I mean that kind of bodes well for us, right? Because we don't get like actual seats, so we could just like go and sit wherever we want if it's anything to go on like the last events. So at least that part's good. But we will we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm very interested to see where the closed days are going to be, where the press room's going to be, if we get to use like the press box like for the hockey events. Who knows?
Like Boston.
Yeah, that was super nice.
That was fun.
But with that, you guys ready to talk some ball?
Let's talk some ball with the car and the boost.
Oh yeah. Well, hello and welcome back to the Boost Over Ball podcast. And listeners new and old, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kyle, K-Cube in the top left. In the top right, we have Red. And in the bottom middle is Quilly. Today we'll be talking about Open number 6. It has finally concluded for SAM, APAC, and EU. We now know our 16 major teams that are headed to Raleigh, and all but one of our teams headed to Lyon for Worlds as well. We'll also talk a little bit about the last chance qualifier, the LCQ, the format, which regions get a spot. I misspoke in the last episode. There are 4 LCQ spots instead of 2, and it is based on average point total finish for each region. So again, we'll talk about that a little bit at the end, but we'll kind of go through our last 3 Open number 6s first before we get there. You guys ready to jump right in?
Yup.
Okay, so first and foremost, we got SAM, and I am excited about one of these quarterfinal matchups, and I'll tell you why in a second. But our teams making the top 8 through the upper brackets are Furia, Secret, Kovia Godfidence, and Genesis. And through the lower bracket, we have Moonrise, Sunset, Amethyst, and Corinthians. So before we talk about any of the results, I have to give honorable mention to the greatest name matchup of all time, Moonrise versus Sunset. They played in lower bracket round 1. Sunset's able to take the win 4-1, but truly a perfect name matchup right there.
Sunset undefeated.
Yeah.
Also, hello. Hi, Harmonic.
Harmonic, the GOAT. Let's go.
So with that, to surprise absolutely nobody, our team's making the top 4. Our Team Secret, they sweep Godfidence 4-0, and Furia, who beats Corinthians 4-1. Furia then sweeps Secret in the finals 4-0. Furia dropped 1 game total to Fofocinos in round 2 of Swiss. So 1 game off a perfect regional. Couldn't exactly do it like Foot could, but, what are you going to do? A big result for Corinthians making top 4, but it is not enough as Secret take the second major and world spot, and it will be Furia and Secret representing SAM. As of now, there's an opportunity for Corinthians. We'll talk about that at the end. Anything you guys, what did you guys think about SAM? Are any surprises or kind of, pretty much the status quo?
No, status quo. Unless Lost loses his internet.
Yeah. Furia, dominant as ever, looking like they are in form for international play. Excited to see them back on land again. Don't know if I can say I think Team Secret will do better this time.
It'd be hard to do worse.
This is true. However, I can't tell.
So,
question.
Yeah,
I have a question. Do we think, being that they lost, but for one series, and they lost the championship to it, do we think he is the most important person on this team?
For Furia, I'd say.
I mean, I just think it would be tough to lose somebody that you've been practicing and scrimming with to for their coach who probably hasn't picked up the sticks in quite a bit. So, I mean, I think he certainly is an integral part of the team. I mean, it seems like at least in the past couple of lands, he's the one that's popped off more so than Yan or Drafinho.
Yeah, I'd say I think individually he's probably the best player on the team. Yan's probably a close second, with Drafinho being that third.
Maybe because he's a KBM player. Sorry, I had to.
Hey,
he definitely has the best celebrations and the best memes come from Drafinho. That's unquestioned. The Fortnite dance, the bird.
Will live rent free in my head.
But no, I think that they're a great team.
I hope we get some drama on land again. I need some more beef. I need something.
Or maybe some shoeies.
Some shoeies. I don't see, but who? 80% of the people playing Pro Rocket League are not 21 and up.
No, but did you see any of the? I'm sidetracking here, but did you see any of the Shui saga with CJ,
oh, yeah, with
Johnny,
Johnny and
Cole,
CJ,
Stumpy, Mr. and Mrs. Papa and Mama Rizzo, like Cole at a concert took his shoe off, did a shoey, and put the shoe back on.
I think
That's
if NRG
impressive.
wins, we could maybe throw Beast Mode a beer and convince him to do a shoey on stage. He's the only one that's over 21 that has a chance of winning the whole thing that I can think of.
Wait, is he actually?
He's 22, I think.
That seems incorrect.
No,
He's 19. Beast Mode is 19.
Dude.
I was like, Beast Mode is definitely not.
Farrah could do it.
There you go, Farrah. We'll fund the coaches. The coaches can
Sath,
definitely
you.
do it. Sathy's gonna need it. After
Copium.
Energy performance.
I was gonna say Farrah would be too locked in. I'll probably be thinking about Worlds just immediately after they win the major.
Yeah,
Would Armonic do a
like,
shoey?
Downloading the data. Is this true?
No, he can't. He can't drink it in uniform.
Who said anything about uniform? Yeah. If we make top 80 do it. Yeah. Yes. That's the greatest answer.
Content.
Oh yeah, that's free content. Anything else you guys want to add about Sam before we jump over to APAC? No.
On here.
Teams making the top 8 through the upper bracket in APAC, we have Virtus Pro, Kinotrope, Movistar Koi, and Dream Station. The exact same 4 that were the top 4 in the last event. Through lower brackets, we have Boba T, Toot Doot Doo, Verstappen, Zen Esports, and Rounds. Our top 4, again, to no surprise, Movistar Koi beats Kinotrope 4-2, Virtus Pro sweeps Dream Station 4-0, and Virtus Pro is able to take down Koi 4-3 in the grand finals to complete the perfect sweep. They've won all 6 regionals. They will be your APAC representative in Raleigh and in Lyon for Worlds. There is potentially a possibility where they get an LCQ team, which at this rate, I would have to guess would be Koi, but we will have to wait and see on that one. We'll talk about it more at the end. Congratulations to former LG, current Virtus Pro on their 6th regional win, similar to Foot, winning all 6, and congratulations to them. Is it?
Go ahead. As expected in this region too, quite literally because they've won all 6 regionals. The only thing that's changed is the team name that they're under.
Yeah.
That forehead might have grown too. We don't know. We have to see when in the updated.
Not the Mecto slander. But yeah, so I mean, I give them a lot of credit, right? Coming into a grand finals where they already knew they needed a top 4 to clinch their Raleigh and their world spot. So with not a whole lot to play for, making it into top 4, other than saying that they won all 6, the prize money, things like that. They were able to make quick work of Dream Station, and they were able to get that major win or the regional win in the grand finals. They went down 3-1 or 3-2, and they won the final 2 games in pretty convincing fashion. So congratulations to Virtus Pro again, and they will represent APAC with 1/3 of the regional representation.
Woo.
Okay. Last but certainly not least, in terms of regions finishing off, that would be EU. So our teams in EU making the top 8 through the upper bracket, we have Carmine Corps, Vitality, Dignitas, and Ninjas in Pajamas. And through the lower brackets, we have GK, 100%, Gentlemates, and Team BSK. So some notable misses, no BDS. They fall to Synergy. And no fast 4-wheel drive. We've seen them before. But other than that, pretty much the same, the usual suspects, at least for me. And so like we'll go through some of the results, and then I kind of want to go back and talk about some of the bigger talking points that I have that I'm sure some other people have as well. So you have Karmine Corp taking down Vitality and Dignitas sweeping Ninjas in Pajamas. You have GK coming through 100% 4-2, losing to Vitality 4-1. You have Gentlemates taking down BSK 4-1, and then losing to then beating Ninjas in Pajamas 4-1, which sets up your top four of Dignitas, Vitality, in which Dignitas wins in 6, and Karmine Corp versus Gentlemates, in which Karmine Corp wins in 6. You then see, a rematch. Are we going to see anything cool? No, Karmine Corp just absolutely stomps Dignitas 4-0 en route to yet another regional and a commanding sweep over Dignitas in the grand finals. So, first and foremost, what happened to Vitality?
What happened to Ninjas in Pajamas?
I'm getting there. I was doing Vitality first.
I don't know. Is it Dig has Vitality's number or?
Well, Vitality just looks terrible against Karmine too.
Well, okay, look Vitality at the expression on their faces. They just look so depressed.
Karmine have had Vitality's number for the past 11 matchups, right?
Yeah,
11 times. 11 double digits.
But a lot of them have been like somewhat close, right? Like they take 2 or they take 3.
Like, the first half maybe have been close, but like after that, I think Karmine have figured, similar to I think how Ultimates have figured out how to beat NRG very consistently as of late. I think it's very similar with this Karmine Corp roster of Vitality. They have figured out this Vitality roster to a T. They know the playstyle they have to bring out to beat them, and it is working very well. I think one thing they do really well against this Vitality roster is they limit Zen's ability. If you can limit Zen's ability to score goals, to create opportunities, you force Monkey Moon and Exotic to make up for the lack of ability there, and Monkey Moon can only do so much. Exotic hasn't been performing well at all this season, and it just kind of all crumbles down on itself. So they've been doing a really good job at isolating these players, not allowing the team plays, and not allowing Zen to make those solo plays that we saw during his crazy rookie season. And I mean, it's just domination. I mean, props to Farah, props to Karmine. They've been looking insane against, as long as they're locked in.
Yeah. I mean, they played 5 games in that series. Vitality scored goals in 2 of them. They were shut out in games 2, 3, and 5. No, I'm sorry, 2, 4, and 5. And they looked terrible. I don't know what happened, right? Because like they call a timeout and they win 2-0, and that was like that was a good win. I'm like, okay, maybe they're gonna claw their way back into this, and they then laid an egg. I know Quilly, you have some thoughts on this. What do you think?
Send Exotic to orbit and put Alpha in the dang lineup. It's the simplest thing. He brings the offense you so desperately need. You'd think having Zen would give you an offense, but he just keeps getting shut down time after time. And Exotic's silly moves on the pitch keep putting Monkey Moon and Zen in the worst possible positions. And it's just time after time. And all I'm seeing on Zen's face is nothing but aggravation. Monkey Moon looks angry, but that's just him in general. So I don't know if that's frustration or just Monkey Moon.
The Monkey Moon, like RBF, I think.
It's just the entire time. It's just this. But Zen looks so defeated. Usually he's animated. He's having fun. I watch him score goals and that kid not even smile.
I mean, it just seems so crazy to me that in a team with Monkey Moon and Zen that you're struggling to find offense. But they can't consistently score, and they're giving up empty nets. Like how many goals? I'd have to go back and look. How many goals in that series where somebody made a misplay? Monkey Moon missed a read. Exotic didn't hit the ball, and all of a sudden it's in their net, just free.
Yeah. I mean, you can just look at the results, right? In this series against Karmine Corp, they put up 4 goals over 5 games. 2 in their game 3 win and 2 in their game 1 loss. The other game 2, 4, and 5, goose eggs. You are getting shut out. You have the former world champion times 2, 3. How many times 2? Monkey Moon's got 2.
Yep,
Zen's
the
got
2 times.
1.
Yep.
You got Zen, who came off the triple crown essentially. I mean, just there should not be a lack of offense in that squad, and that's not to take away from Karmine Corp's defense. You have Vatira on the squad, who is arguably one of the best defenders in the world currently, but still, you are what should have been EU number 2, now EU number 3. I mean, not to say that we're looking a little too harsh on Vitality. It's still Vitality. However, of their late results, it hasn't looked great for them.
It has not, and it doesn't even get any better for them against Dignitas, right? They scored 3 goals in game 1, then 1-0, 1-1-1. The offense isn't there. They're giving up goals that they should not be giving up, and I mean, Dignitas. I don't know. Like, Dignitas has been an awesome team, but I don't know that they're on the same level as Karmine Corp. And the way Vitality played, it made Dignitas look incredible. And then they come into, the meat grinder in the grand finals, and Karmine just walks them. So, I mean, it's going to be truly interesting to see what happens here, to see if Vitality can right the ship, or what happens, because the mental has been in the bin.
I think the current state of EU 3-4 is the reason why Vatira said NA's top 4 is better. Because
I'd agree.
This Vitality team, I think there's a genuine chance if they go out early in this, they make a roster change going into. Is there another transfer window? Are they?
I don't think so. I don't think they can make a change.
Are they technically able to sub Alpha in because he's on contract?
I don't know if he's signed up as a sub, which is the issue there. I don't think they can make any roster changes if he's not designated as a sub on the team, which I don't believe he is. He is not. So this is what they got. They have to figure it out before Worlds. They have to figure it out before Raleigh.
If they made a sub, they'd have to go to LCQ. They'd forfeit their points and they'd have to go to LCQ, which would be really stupid. But yeah, Harmonic is right. There's no more transfer windows. But secondly, before we talk about, I'm leaving the NIP stuff to last. Vatira's English interview before Championship Sunday, so like on the Saturday, they talked. First of all, props to Vatira. His English was fantastic. Like, that was really impressive. Good. That's probably his 3rd language.
That's crazy. Just like the amount of languages some of these players know. Like Vatira,
Tao's like cooking on. Tao knows is like pretty much a Duolingo.
Like Spanish, English, French. bro's got.
He's Belgian.
Bro's got every language on him.
Yeah.
What language do they speak over in?
French.
Yeah, it's French. Yeah.
But he talked about losing to Dignitas in Open 5, and he said, that they like kind of just look at the positives of it, right? If they're losing, it means there's still room to improve, and there's still things that they can learn about. And if that's the mentality you have for losing a regional, that is terrifying. And whatever they needed to be learned, it looked like it was learned, because they swept Dignitas this time around.
I think they knew that number 1 seed was on the line. They were like, you know what? Let's just kill him.
Yeah.
I think also it was going to be hard for Dig to reproduce that result based off the performance of their team. I mean, we remember back to that regional, Appjack was peaking, and I mean peaking, like best Appjack I've seen in who knows how long at this point.
I think maybe since LAN win Gen G NA Appjack.
Yeah, that would.
But there's a reason they call it a peak and not a plateau, right?
Yep.
Hard to get back to.
It becomes really hard to sustain that, especially to that level of dominance that we saw with Dig last regional. So it was kind of an expected fall to grace, but man, they didn't just fall. They kind of just slammed.
They face planted.
It was quick. It was hard. It was why am I blanking on the Oceania player that did it?
Not Joria's, was it Rizex? No, Raziers.
No. Who face planted on on the stairs?
No, Fiber. Thank you.
Like, I was like, I'm blanking.
We were standing right there. I should know this.
We were watching it happen live. But I mean, props to Carmian for getting the result they needed. I don't think Dig takes it too much on their shoulder there. More, it was just like Carmian we're dialed in. Dig did what they needed to do. They beat Vitality. They secured the 2 seed.
Yeah.
On to Raleigh.
So the next hypothetical question I have, and this could also be a post Raleigh or a pre Raleigh, content, but how good could Mates have been if they hadn't picked up Radosin? Right? Had they picked up Juicy, maybe Rusty Z or Rusty's or another one of the many French players that are possible instead of Radosin?
You could go back in the VODs for us. We said from day one when Radosin got picked up on this General Mate squad that it wasn't going to work. But that there was first killer hate, then there was Radosin hate. We were right there.
We're on that. We're on that. Yeah, not to take away from the results and the success he's had, but on that roster, it was not an upgrade. It was a downgrade, and it showed when they didn't even make main event. So props to them for making the change, for picking up an up-and-coming French player like Eugen. Eugen performed fantastically on the bubble team he was with, and then immediately slots in with this General Mate roster. And sure, it could be considered a bit of a honeymoon period still because it's short enough, but it's an extended honeymoon. I mean, they took some serious PTO off for this honeymoon. I mean, they look fantastic. A great team to be the number 4 seed, which is going to lead us into the next conversation. The former was supposed to be for maybe 3 seed even. NIP. I mean, talk about a downfall. You miss first major off of a GK legacy run, and now you don't even get to miss the run. You weren't even in the picture. I mean, sure, your name appeared on the graphic, but that was about it. I mean, you were there for a day. If that, yeah. So
I got one thing to say.
Oh yeah.
Kofor is the Michael Jordan of Eugens.
What? Elaborate on that. What the hell does that mean?
A young up-and-coming player on a bubble team takes a team that was struggling and missed a main event, takes him to the promised land. To winning. That's why he's the Michael Jordan of them, because he's the great version of it. He's the impactful version of it. But yeah, Rado, terrible signing. I genuinely don't know what. Trying to replace Itachi with Rado.
That is world champion Rado. I'll have you know.
That is carried by the one and only Peak Zen with Coach Farah.
Fair.
What happened the following season? They were shamed out.
In that environment.
You had Farah as your coach and Peak Zen, first year Zen. That team, and also Alpha was a better player. I think he was the weak link of the team, and it really showed. Mates really screwed themselves with that signing. I think they were just trying to go for names and think, hoping it was going to work out. I know they did plenty of tryouts.
I did see. So for General Mates to clinch Worlds without having to do LCQ, they have to go to the grand finals.
Stealing content.
What if General
We'll talk about LCQ, but for them to make it, so like talking about like shooting themselves in the foot early on, right? Don't even make Birmingham. You don't do well in Regional 2, I think was the one where they crashed out hard.
They pulled a space station.
You have to go in and make it to the grand finals. And that means you're going to have, along the way, most likely have to beat either one of 3 teams. Energy, Carmen, Vitality, Falcon. Period. Like, you're going to have to beat at least, 2 of those guys, if not 3. Do I think they can do it?
That's 2/3 of a Landboy team.
True. However, it's Eugen's first land. We got to think about that. This is first land jitters for Eugen. So definitely eyes going to be on him to see if he can really.
Plus, they have to perform if they want to play in front of a French home crowd.
Correct. Now, let's say they don't make it and have to go through LCQ. I feel like they're pretty much a lock, which we'll talk about how LCQ works here in a second. But Gentlemates, fantastic. NIP, get on the sad train.
So
you've been there for a while. You're staying there.
For NIP, oh, go ahead, Cooley.
I was gonna say with LCQs, technically the transfer window's closed, but technically they can switch teams, can't they? Still, right? They can disband and form their own.
If you don't clinch top 4 seeds, technically yes.
Yes.
So like, what if we just see a mates reunion? We get Juicy, Itachi, Seiko.
Bro's living in nostalgia.
What if they just like come back? We need you. We're down horrendous. They won a major. That roster won a major.
They did.
This is true.
But
they didn't do anything after that, but they did win a major.
They did win a major, yeah. But speaking of NIP, we have I have been known maybe once or twice to rip on Unclutch Killer. You maybe have to switch the narrative. Is Nass the most unclutch Rocket League player in RLCS currently?
I don't know if it's Nass being unclutch, because Nass still played well during that series against Gentlemates. I mean, he got kind of flamed, I ain't gonna lie.
By 42 goals,
by the main Rocket League account. Hits an absolute clip. Of course, you're down 4 and you hit this clip, so the value is immediately low. But the RL Esports Twitter account tweets it out, cuts the lead by 2, be down for you, whatever. It's like, oh,
they forgot a dash to say the score was 4-2, and they said down 42.
Down 42.
It's an NBA meme because
it's a Chris Paul hits a 3 to cut the lead to 42.
Yeah, it's a NBA reference, but it's just to say you did something while you're down so bad it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but I mean, like if you look back, Nass in the past 2 RLCS seasons has 2 top 4s, and they are the first 2 events from this year. He has, if you remember back to M80 days, right, when everyone thought M80 was going to come over and they were going to dominate the region, and they were number 1, number 2 seed in Swiss every single event, and they crashed out in quarterfinals every single time. This season as well, lower bracket quarterfinals or or sooner, they're crashed out 4 of the 6 events. Is it necessarily Nass? No, but you're getting, like, Joria's went to a new team and broke the curse almost instantly. They've won a regional. AJ retired, so keep that for what it's will. But he's made main events with Garrett G and Squishy, right? They've gone just as far as M80 did last season in an event.
Ouch.
Yeah. So again, but Nass, nothing better than a top 4, and that's 2 3/4. So
I'm still of the belief that I don't believe it's Nass being unclutched. It's just he's got some rough team compositions that he's been on, but I haven't seen Nass perform poorly in a series. He does his job. He does what he needs to. We call First Killer the unclutch killer because he has those defining moments where he will just shit the bed.
This is true.
So, and I think it's more so just unlucky run. He's doing what he needs to, but his teammates aren't quite there to support it, and pressure's on. Lights are too bright, but they're not too bright yet. There's still a chance to at least make it to Lyon.
Yeah,
I think it's just clashing play styles. I just don't think this team just genuinely doesn't mesh. There's been no point throughout the season. I mean, technically, they were the only issue.
Well, there's like glimpses.
They were going to make Major 1, but the miracle GK run. GK literally need to win in order to make it in, and they just pulled it out of their ass and did it.
On Oski's birthday, too.
Yeah, that's rough.
Nip was supposed to make it.
Happy birthday! You're not going to Birmingham.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, though, because, like, we've talked about a lot, and I think last split, First Killer, like, led NA in overtime goals. But, like, that's, like, usually the defense that people bring for him specifically is like, oh, he scores a bunch of overtime goals. Well, it's like, okay, well, where are the trophies?
Oh. But also, why are we in overtime in the first place?
Partially true, right? So I think Nass played well, but it's like, we've seen him have that extra gear before. Like mechanically, we've seen him like on like close to on par with Drawley, but it doesn't show up in games, right? And, Drawley is a different breed, right? It's a tie game in overtime, and he's going for double flip resets. Normal people don't do that. But, and maybe that's the Farah effect. Maybe they just need a different coach. Maybe they needed, a roster change would really benefit him. But, he's got to change something, right? Because at this rate, potentially they don't even, I don't know that they're favorites to get this LCQ spot.
I think the problem is Nass is all scoring, and if he's shut down scoring wise, he brings nothing else to the table. So he needs to raise his play style in a different aspect to help elevate the team. I think because his freestyle is, if one of the best in the world, his ability to score a goal by himself is insane. But without it, what do you bring to the table?
Because, and again, we'll talk about it once we get to LCQ teams, right? But right now, are you taking GK or NIP in a head-to-head match? I'll do an easier one first. Are you taking mates or NIP?
Oh, mates.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So we saw that
without a question.
We saw
without
that
a question.
out.
So unless mates makes grand finals in LCQ, you're taking mates over NIP. So then NIP loses out again. If mates makes grand finals and it's GK NIP in a head-to-head, you're not...
Job security Itachi, though.
Batmobile Oli.
Yeah, I was like, Batmobile Oli. I mean...
Have to win GK is pretty good, too.
Have to win GK is pretty good. I would say that would come down to how they look that day. Who have they played to get there? What has the previous results of that? What's the momentum looking like? Because NIP, without momentum, goodbye. Get him out of here.
But that's my point too, right? Because like at the beginning of the season, it was like this is 3 seed and EU with a bullet, right? Like no one's touching this 3 seed because no one's touching Vitality KC at the top, and that hasn't really been. I mean, KC's been at the top, but other than that, it hasn't really been the case. So there's at least a reason to think about it and to talk about it. So it's kind of if you're an NIP fan. If you're, a Nass or, an individual fan of Oski, Itachi, you got to be a little bit afraid, a little bit nervous. But with that being said, our Raleigh major teams from EU are Karmine Corps. These are in seed order too. Karmine Corps, Dignitas, Vitality, and Gentlemates. From NA, we have NRG, SSG, Gen G, and the Ultimates. From OCE, we have Wildcard and TSM. From SAM, we have Furia and Team Secret. From MENA, we have Falcons and Twisted Minds. From APAC, we have Virtus Pro. And from SSA, we have Foot Esports. So with that being said, everyone listed above has locked in their spot at Worlds except for Gentlemates. They currently trail GK by 13 points for the final non-LCQ World spot. And like we mentioned earlier, in order for them to lock in a spot on their own volition, they have to make a grand finals.
Ain't happening.
I would tend to agree.
Unless they're facing K-Corp in the finals, it ain't happening.
You'd need no friendly fire. You'd need, not to run into NRG or the Ultimates or, quite frankly, at this point, or SSG or anything like that. So... certainly interesting. Certainly a lot to watch for and root for if you're a if you're a Gentlemates fan or if you're a green suit. I'm sure we will see plenty of them in Raleigh. Because this could potentially be the only land that they're at all year. The way they've been playing, I like their chances in LCQ, but we will have to wait and see. But we've talked about it a few times, and I can post the link to the website, the article that explains it again. But for people who are unfamiliar with the Last Chance qualifier format, the 4 regions with the best average LAN performance, so the average major points, in 2025 will earn a Last Chance qualifier for their region. Each region will send 1 extra team to the Rocket League World Championships in Lyon in 2025. There are 4 LCQ spots. So granted, this is pre-Raleigh, right? So these are very much subject to change because we've only done half of the majors. But EU's average major points is in first place with 12.75. Because they won the last one, right? So it's going to skew their points higher. In second place, we have NA with 10.75. In third is SAM with 9. In fourth is MENA with 8. In fifth is APAC with 5. In sixth is OCE with 3.5. And in seventh is SSA with 3. I would like to note that OCE is a 2-team region, and they sit below APAC by 1.5 points as a 1-team region, and behind SSA, who is also a 1-team region, though that is very close. So as it currently stands, EU, NA, SAM, and MENA would all get an LCQ spot for their region, which would, it's a big tournament where the winner would qualify. However, a lot can change if, for instance, a Virtus Pro makes a top 8, then, that maybe jumps them over MENA. I think that that's highly unlikely personally, but I think we will see EU, NA, SAM, and MENA all with another team. But then the format from there, phase 1, the 4 teams who qualify through the last chance qualifier will join the bottom 4 teams based on land performance in 2025 season 8, or from the 2025 season in an 8-team bracket where the top 2 teams progress to phase 2. So the bottom 4 teams will face off against the last chance qualifier teams for a chance to make it into the main bracket. The 4 teams winning from phase 1 will join the remaining 12 and split into 2 8-team brackets where the 4 teams from each bracket progress onto the final phase, which is phase 3. And that is the remaining 8 teams will battle it out in the well-known hybrid elimination bracket like we've seen all season for the title of Rocket League World Champions 2025.
This is confusing as heck.
A little bit. So basically, the bottom 4 placing teams into Raleigh, or into Lyon, will play against the 4 last chance qualifier teams. That will eliminate 4 of them, right? So maybe it's the bottom 4 teams that were already in there. Maybe it's the last chance qualifier teams. But realistically, it's probably a combination of the 2 of them. Those teams... Go ahead.
So, SSA is going to have to play one of the LCQ teams to go to Worlds?
Potentially, yes.
So, Foot could lose their World spot to an LCQ team before even going there?
Well, they're already... all of this is going to happen in Lyon.
Yeah. So,
but
before... in the private arena.
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, that's tough.
But so then the 4 teams that make it out of this, basically, last chance qualifier bracket will compete in 2 8-team brackets. So it's just single elim, just bracket style, how we've, it's probably actually, it might be double elimination. I'm not entirely sure.
It is double elim.
Okay. Double elim, 2 8-team brackets, similar to how we see for the Saturday, the Friday for RLCS regionals currently, and then the 8 teams that qualify through that will go into our normal playoff bracket, right? So the top 4 teams being in upper quarters and the bottom 4 going to lower round 1, so on and so on, and then we will go from there. So a lot of words, a lot of complication. I'm sure we'll talk much more about this moving forward, but I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it now. And, kind of explain a little bit so you can know what to look for as you start to think about Raleigh. And, after Raleigh, we have the last chance qualifier. So we'll get to see more Rocket League in between Major 2 and Worlds, which is awesome again. And, we'll start probably talking a little bit about ones next time too, as we will most likely know in the coming week or so who will be your NA representative for the 1v1 not show match, but tournament that will happen in Raleigh as well. So certainly a lot to look forward to, a lot to talk about, and we'll be sure to bring you as much content as we can until we're in Raleigh, and then you know the drill there, pictures, videos, all that fun stuff, interviews from us, as we will be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in person. So I'm sure that we will try to record a couple episodes while we're there, do some in-person content, and share all the pictures and stuff that we got with you guys. I think I'm going to put it on the podcast, so I have to do it. I'm going to try and make a YouTube video, montage video about our experience, about the things that we do, about the content that we have, and all of that. So we will look forward, or keep reminding me about that. But is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about before we wrap up for today?
All good here.
Oh, good. Viva la foot.
Okay. Well, on that note, we'd like to thank you all so much for listening. We'd like to remind everyone that this podcast is proudly brought to you by our name level supporters on Patreon, Alyssa B. Please remember to rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, share the show, tell a friend. It all helps us grow our audience and improve the show. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Twitch, which we're currently live recording on right now. Come enjoy our Discord. Come talk ball. Come talk shop. It's a fun time. Make sure to support us by checking out our merch store and our Patreon, as this is how we'll be funding the show and doing giveaways in the future. Thank you for stopping by, Harmonic. As always, have a good one as well. All of these links that I've mentioned and more can be found on our website at boostoverball.com. And from us here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website at boostoverball.com.